gentlemen. We would like to read our press statement on the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe taking a stand against drug abuse. So the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe is committed to protecting public and animal health through its regulatory functions. As part of our mandate, the MCAZ recognizes the urgent need to combat drug and substance abuse in Zimbabwe. Drug abuse is a complex issue that affects individuals, families, and communities across Zimbabwe. It poses serious threats to public health, societal stability, and economic development. The MCAZ acknowledges that addressing this challenge requires a comprehensive approach involving various stakeholders, including government agencies, healthcare professionals, the civil society, and organizations, and the public in general. So the authority is honored to be part of a technical committee set up by the government of Zimbabwe, which is mandated to come up with strategies to combat the vice of drug and substance abuse. The primary responsibility of the MCAZ is to regulate medicines and medical devices in Zimbabwe. So through our robust regulatory framework, we ensure that safe, effective, and quality medicines are available on the market. By so doing, we aim to prevent the circulation of counterfeit and unregistered substances that can contribute to drug abuse. In this regard, the authority has so far revoked 6 permits from wholesale dealers and also cancelled 4 persons' licenses who were promoting the illicit sale of Histalix, a locally produced cough mixture which contains codeine. That was illegally being sold in Bali and also in places like Chitumbisa, and others were actually exporting it to countries like Zambia and Mozambique. So the authority has put in place mechanisms to control the availability of codeine-containing medicines by making them prescription preparations. This means that they cannot be dispensed without a valid prescription. And so, but however, the authority notes with concern that we continue to receive over-the-counter medicines from other countries which are continuously being imported illegally. In addition to our regulatory role, the MCAZ collaborates with government agencies and partners in implementing strategies aimed at preventing drug abuse. The authority works closely with law enforcement agencies to combat the illicit trafficking and sale of substances of abuse and to ensure that we adhere to strict regulations. The MCAZ is working with various stakeholders that include the police, the CID drugs, the national prosecutors, ZIMRA, and Port Health, amongst others, to educate and ensure that the entry of medicines into the country through illicit channels is curtailed. The authority holds trainings with these stakeholders on a regular basis to ensure that they are abreast with the laws and requirements. And so far we have held 5 trainings in provinces like Masvingo, in Beitbridge, in Zvishavane, in Victoria Falls, and in Mutare. And so police are regularly confiscating some of these cough mixtures, and we assist them in writing statements to ensure that adequate penalties are saved. Furthermore, the MCAZ places great emphasis in public education and awareness campaigns. The authority believes that knowledge is power and in preventing drug abuse. Through these various initiatives, so far we've done exhibitions and radio and television programs. We've also gone to schools, and community outreach programs have been done so far as we strive to educate the public on the dangers of substance and drug abuse. The fight against drug and substance abuse requires a united front from all sectors of the society, and the MCAZ encourages individuals who may be struggling with substance abuse or if they know someone who is affected by substance abuse to seek help from health professionals or support groups that are available from the communities. The authority also exhorts medical professionals to adhere to pharmaceutical regulations or risk losing their licenses. Together with our partners and stakeholders across Zimbabwe, the MCAZ remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting public health, by combating drug and substance abuse. And the MCSZ urges everyone to join in this critical endeavor as the country strive for a healthier future for all of us. So for further information, you can contact the authority. We'll be able to assist in any issues that we may be able to do in drug and substance abuse. I thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am, for your statement. Now I'll open the floor for questions. If there are any questions from the members of the media, maybe you can start. I'll take 3 for the first round, and then she responds, and then we'll take another round until we are done. All right. Please introduce yourself and the media house.
Okay, it's good afternoon. When I watched them many times, I wanted to find out the timeline when you revoked the licenses, the term licenses.
Okay. Next question.
Is it possible to get the names? My name is
Utendo Mawele from VOA. The names.
the names of the licenses.
Oh, okay. And the last question.
Anesu from ZFM. You mentioned codeine as your main worry, but there's the issue of crystal meth that is rampant. From investigations that we've done ourselves, we know that it comes from South Africa. But is there any way you as MCAS that you're going to do to ensure that we also look into the issue? Because codeine, yes, but codeine now is now more on the low side than crystal meth.
So she'll respond these 3, then we'll take another round.
Okay, so I'll answer the first one on timelines when the licenses were revoked. So these licenses were cancelled, in some of them in 2022, and normally they are given up to 3 years cancellation period. And then in terms of the names of these perpetrators are available on our website. If you go onto our website under circulars, you will find the list of all of them. So we update this list on a regular basis and publish it as and when we cancel any licenses. So onto the MCSZ website, under circulars, you'll be able to find a list of, it actually says cancelled premises and persons licenses. So some of them include wholesalers like Adept Pharmaceuticals, Action 24, and Murity that have been cancelled from the top of my head, of those that I remain out of the 6. But the list is available with the names of the premises and persons and their addresses as well. And then, so the last one here, the last question we have so far is on crystal meth. So crystal meth so far is not a registered medicine and has been coming illegally through illicit channels. And we have been informed and we have dealt with quite a number of issues, some of which has already been confiscated and prosecuted. But we work closely with the port officials and the police, and they are working on this. So what we do is to educate them to identify and also know how to categorize it. Crystal meth in itself is a specially restricted preparation, and the misconception that had been there was that it's a dangerous drug, but it's actually a higher level, which is a specially restricted preparation. So far we've sent out circulars on the specially restricted preparation cell, and we'll continue to educate the public on this one. But we have also joined the technical task force that is working on these issues, and it is work in progress.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir.
I want to ask on the issue of the importation of the drugs, as well as the penalties. How deterrent are the penalties? Because we continue to hear of the issue of the illegal importation of the drugs. Maybe the laws are not strict enough. And on the issue of importation, what are you doing maybe to make sure that some of the loopholes are closed, and make sure that the importation of drugs does not continue? Was from the media stories that we've seen in Zimbabwe so far, it appears the people who are importing these drugs are known, and they're also involved in security agents. They are known. It's just that they're not being arrested. So I don't know to what extent are you dealing with that.
Okay.
You mentioned the deregistering of some pharmacies. I want to know, do you guys just, do you close a pharmacy down? Do you deregister the pharmacist or is it the owner? What really happens? Because if you just close the pharmacy, then I'll go and open another one. So who is the culprit here? And how do you deal with the culprit in particular?
The last question. So maybe, okay.
Maybe I want to ask, if you are happy with the progress that the police so far made, and also are you happy yourself to deregister? So far you said 6. Are you happy with what you've done so far, considering the rampant drug abuse and also drug peddling in the country?
Okay, so the first one is on importation, on whether the penalties are deterrent enough. So in this case, we realize that the penalties are revised from time to time and are not with us, but with the Judiciary Services Commission. So we, like we have said, we are in constant dialogue with these stakeholders, and if this is an issue that we will need to raise with them, then we can take it up from them. But otherwise, we always make sure that anyone who is being reported is taken to the courts for a suitable penalty, depending on the level of issue that they would have been charged with. So we have also stated that what are we doing to close the loopholes? We have in place our import and export regulations, which state that these are the people that are allowed to import medicines. But we realize that most of what is happening is illegal, and as such we refer it to the police for prosecution. So like you say, if there is need, then we can take up with the matter with the police, but otherwise we have been prosecuting anyone who is found on the other side of the law. And like we've said, our legislation are continuously reviewed. We may need to engage other stakeholders to ensure that if this has become a public health problem, then how do we deal with it going forward? Like you say, we may not have acknowledged that the same people are still coming there, but if we get that information, at least we can take it up with the relevant authorities. So that's as far as importation is concerned. And then when it comes to deregistering, what happens? What happens is that when we issue out a license and there are issues, we use some points that we calculate to say this is posing a risk to the public, and at that point we can decide to cancel the premises or the person's license. So when they are licensed, what is licensed is a company, and in that company we state the directors, who are the directors of this company, who is the pharmacist in charge of this pharmacy. And when we cancel the license, we most of the time cancel that company license, as well as the persons and the directors can be suspended and disqualified from dealing in medicines for a specified period of time. So we state that this person has been disqualified and they will not be allowed to deal in medicine in that specific period. So it affects the company as well as the individuals behind those companies. And so that's how we deal with anyone found on the other side of the law. And then we've also got a question on the progress with police. We can say that with the police we've had very good working relations, where we are now training them on a regular basis. Like we've said, this year we've increased our scope of the stakeholders that we train. So the police have come in on board as well in terms of conscientizing them on the issues to do with medicines. So in the trainings, we are quite happy with the fact that they can now identify medicines and they know how to deal with certain issues. Of course, it's a learning process where we continuously train them, but we so far receive quite a number of reports and write a number of statements based on reports that we are receiving from the police. So we think that there is some progress, but there is room for improvement going forward. And then when it comes to the cancellation so far, we would say that our system has got many ties. Like I said, it uses the points that we use to determine whether we are cancelling a license or we are issuing a warning. So so far we can say that from the issues that have been brought to us, the progress is not very bad. It is actually quite commendable that we are able to receive information and deal with it and make specific decisions where so required. So in general, I can say that the progress is not very bad, but if you bring in information, we will obviously deal with it on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you, ma'am. Maybe the last round of questions before we close. If there are any more questions, any questions? Oh, we are happy. Right. There was a question? All right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. And members of the media, thank you so much for blessing this press conference. And we look forward to continue engaging with you. And we understand the importance of the role of the media in the fight against drug and substance abuse. So you are our key stakeholder. So your presence here is very much appreciated.